Hey guys, welcome back to Dueling Destination. So today I have a deck profile. I've been working on this deck. This is one deck I actually used for a remote duel tournament. I didn't do as good as I wanted. It was a pretty small tournament, but it was a very creative one when it came to deck building. The participants that played in this tournament were outstanding. It was pretty good. In the next tournament, I'll give you guys a bit more information and see if I can actually get some deck profiles from them. But I hope everyone's been safe. I hope everyone's been warm because the weather has been crazy. But let's just jump into this deck profile. And thank you to everyone that has subscribed. We're getting to the mark of 200 subscribers. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. And remember to share, like, and let's try to get that 200 mark. So this deck, I know you guys have seen this multiple times, and a lot of people refer it to as the Bird Up deck, the lureless Tri-Brigade deck. I'm playing the same deck, just with a bit of more of a twist. And I have a lot of cards that I actually wanted to put in this deck, but I did have to cut them out. But let's go into it now. Of course, we're gonna start with a basic standard bird setup. This is like the best bird you want to have in hand because this special summons itself, and this is one of our combo starters. I'm also using 2 sparrow and 2 swallows. So as my bird package here, a lot of people have been cutting it down to one of each one of these guys, but I prefer 2 because I like fueling the engine a lot more. I'm making sure I have enough fuel in the graveyard to special summon my monsters from the extra deck. This ratio has been working pretty good for me, and I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon. This is the updated deck version that I really wanted to do. For the Tri-Brigades, of course, we gotta use triple copies of Fractal because this is one of the main boss monsters that you need. 2 Karas, 2 Kit. Kit is the new guy that just came in, and it's been working out pretty good. A lot of people just use 1 kit, but I feel like 2 is the ratio is pretty good for me that I can actually recycle him. And as a normal summon, it's not the worst thing in the world. And I'm using triple copies of Narval. I hope the glare is okay there, that it doesn't bother you guys as much. Again, we're just using triple copies of Narval, being one of the most important ones on here. A level 1 Wind Beast monster. It helps you go into your combos a lot easier, and just having him in hand is not the worst thing. It's pretty good because a lot of people do forget that his effect in grave and his effect on the field are 2 different effects, so it gives you a lot of advantage. This is my ratio I've been using for it. And now let's go into the Wanos. My Wanos are a bit different on this deck. I'm using only one of this card. A lot of people have been cutting this guy out, and I can see the reasons why, but sometimes I do need that extender on the grind game, and just having that extra special summon really helps me later on. Of course, once barrier statue of the Stormwind because it's one of your main win conditions. I'm using 1 Apex Avian. I did cut the Mist Valley from the deck with infinite negates. I didn't think it was as consistent as I wanted it to be, but I did need to find a new way to protect the barrier statue, and this is what I have here. It's just because I had these cards in hand, and I really like how the engine works. I don't have much of the cards, but it works out pretty good for me. I'm using one of this Dogmatica card. This is pretty good because it gives me a line of defense. It gives me another monster on the field that can help me out to just end the game later on. So I am using the Dogmatica engine in here, but no, I do not have any Nadir Servants. That's a pretty expensive card. I don't think I'll ever have any of those in here because of the price. It would be a pretty good card just to start out this, and you can actually dump some cards from your extra deck that are pretty useful. So guys, just look out for that one. You'll see it as it comes out on the extra deck. I'm also using for hand traps just 1 DD Crow because it is searchable. It is pretty good in the game now, but because I can search it at almost any point in a duel, I don't want to draw into a lot of DD Crows because it's not part of my combo that I want to go into. I'm still using triple copies of Ash Blossom, and of course we're going to use the Gamma package because Gamma is just too broken. If you guys realize that the Ash Blossoms are in a different sleeve, it's because this is actually in another deck now too. So I don't want to damage my cards, so I try to keep them where they belong. But whenever using this deck, I gotta put the proper sleeve, guys. Always sleeve up good. So that's for my hand traps. My hand traps are not too much, but they're just a perfect ratio, I believe, for now. For my spell cards are a lot of one-offs actually. I'm using Foolish Burial, 1 for 1, Call by the Grave, Monster Reborn, and Harpy's Feather Duster. My Wanos, I really selected them after really evaluating how I want to play this deck, and I wish Call by the Grave was more copies, because then this deck would be even more powerful because of the way that the deck plays. I really depend on combos a lot, and interruptions from like Lancia really hurts you with this deck, so you have to be very careful the way when you're playing with this deck. But other than that, Foolish Barrel as an extender, sometimes you do need it. Yesterday I was doing some remote duels with my friend, and Foolish Barrel and Monster Reborn gave me almost full combo. And of course, back row hate with Harpy's Feather Duster, we always need that. Now to round out the spell cards, of course we gotta run triple copies of Tenki, because Tenki is just too broken in this deck. It was made for this deck, that's what I keep saying. And just being able to recur Tenki, it helps you out. Honestly, you just need to draw into one card and you could do a lot more. For the trap card, I did change up the trap lineup. Before, I didn't have much of a trap lineup. I did need to think defensively on the way I want to play the deck and really protect the barrier statue. And in playing in some remote duels, Dogmatica Invoke was really something very challenging for me because of the way that Winda plays. I would actually just give up the duel whenever Winda's on the field. It's kind of hard to play around Winda. So I decided to use triple copies of Impermanence. I know Impermanence is a card that a lot of people have been just disregarding and not paying much attention to, but I think Impermanence has a lot of play right now with the Dogmatica Invoke cards. Of course, you just want to make sure that you can extend your plays. This is a trap card I did not know I had in my vault, and I really did not know the power of this trap card until I read it and really understood how to use it. I'm talking about Dogmatica Punishment. A lot of people just use one copy of it, or maybe two, because they can start it out with Nadir Servant and the Dogmatica Monster, but I don't have those cards. So I decided to just use a whole playset on them, and sending my monsters from the extra deck into the graveyard does trigger a lot of my effects that I do want to activate. So it gives me a line of protection that I needed, and you just have to know how to play around it. So guys, remember, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and let's just jump into this extra deck. I hope you guys all been safe. Again, thank you so much for all the subscriptions we've been getting. And now into the extra deck. The extra deck is not fully completed. I believe I'm missing one card at the moment, and that's Harpy Conductor. I ordered that like 2 weeks ago. I still haven't gotten it. I know the weather's been bad and the shipping services have been really bad, so I'm being patient with it. It's fine. We'll get it eventually and we'll do an update then. But for now, I just want to show you guys, I'm using one Rugal, 2 Blossom, because Blossom is mandatory on here, and 2 Omen. Before I was just using 1 Omen, I believe, and I didn't know how broken this card was, especially with Dogmatica Punishment. You can actually send these cards to the graveyard, these 4 over here, and their effects are going to trigger. So that's pretty good, because sometimes if you want to just take control of it. So that's for the Tri-Brigade Link monsters. For some generic Link monsters, I'm using Link Karibo, 1 Dragon Lord. People are sleeping on Dragon Lord. This is pretty good. The effect I was actually taught by my friend Juan that plays Ancient Warriors, and it was always hard to get over. So now playing this card in this deck is pretty unbelievable how much power it actually has. I'm using 1 Samorg because Samorg is just broken in this deck. You gotta use him, and of course 1 Apollosa because you wanna put a board up there that gives you a lot of negates. And even though Apollosa sometimes only gives you 2 negates, that's more than enough with a Dogmatica Punishment for the interactions to just accumulate and be overwhelming for the opponent. Now to wrap up the monsters here, I also have 1 Omega. Omega's pretty good. Again, working with Dogmatica Punishment, something I did not expect, but I did learn this because challenging the Dogmatica Invoke player, that's when I saw Omega was coming in pretty handy. Now this is a bit of cards I want to change. I just want to let you guys know I'm using 2 of this dragon, the Glory Dragon. If this guy is actually sent to the graveyard by Dogmatica Punishment or any way or form, at the end of the turn I can either add a Tri-Beast monster or special summon it to the field. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of resources, and just getting rid of 1 card helps out. But I was actually going to change one of these guys that can be swapped out to a Mekaba, just to make sure that Invoke Dogmatica match is not much of a trouble for me. And I'm using 2 Starling. Again, I don't have Zeus I wish I had it, but it's pretty pricey and I'm not gonna spend that amount of money on one card. So I'm using 2 Starling. This guy can always be changed up for Cyber Dragon Nova for the Dogmatica matchup. So that's where my 2 changes would be. And I would then have the RP Conductor on here to follow on my combos. And I think I'll be pretty good with this deck then. I'm pretty happy with the build that I have at the moment. There's not much that I would want to change other than those extra deck monsters. The main deck is pretty good. For the most part, it's very budget friendly when I got it. Now the prices are going up. But other than that, I think I've been enjoying playing this deck, and I can't wait to do some more remote duels and see if I can get into some tournaments and try to win some pack, guys. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and let's get to the 200 subscription mark. We're very close to it, guys. I need about 12 more subscriptions. Help me get that, and be safe out there, guys. Thank you so much.